Okay, so I just got the whole you need special attention for boarding thing again. I guess APAC has me on some sort of list. So I need special handling. So we're on our way to the counter now. Oh, fun times. Fun. So good. So let's see if they'll give me a ticket this time. Okay. You need my license, ma'am? Here you are.
But it's not letting me sign in. I don't know why.
It's not letting you sign into the system now. Okay, so one more. So it wasn't letting her sign into her terminal. Now we're going to try another one. This is why you guys need to give me the campaign donations. Okay, we're able to sign into this terminal now. This is why we need a campaign bus, guys. It'll be a lot of fun. Yeah. So, just to let you know, we were streaming.
M3YA7 Bravo.
Yes, ma'am. So just to let you know, we were streaming before on my backup channel because I haven't added my primary channel to that phone yet. So if you're just tuning in, go to Little Revolution 2 to watch all the other fun we've had today, where we were jerked around for 2 hours, being told to go back and forth between two different lines 6 or 7 times. The same thing happened where I got this whole. This is not a boarding pass.
Can I?
Yeah, they just compensated me. They got a compensation pack going. You got business class available?
Oh, I see. They
Yeah.
put in your birthday incorrectly.
They put in my birthday incorrectly.
Yeah.
Correct. Great. Yeah, I just spoke to someone overseas that was handling the compensation reservation, but yeah, I'm taking these 2 bags with me. Can I bring these 2 bags with me? With I don't know what type of ticket this new one is.
You can bring 2 bags in. Yes.
Okay, good.
It will be. Just give me a few minutes.
Sure.
Okay. I need to call it in.
Do you have business available as compensation? Because I'm missing a day of a conference. I'm going.
Hold on, Miss Alito. I need to call
Sure.
to get this cleared. Okay.
Okay. Fun. So we're going to be missing day number 1 of the APAC conference tomorrow. That's okay. There are 2 more days, but now I got to make new arrangements. And now I have less time to prepare the campaign materials. I brought a bunch of Little Revolution flyers with me. We've got Little Revolution flyers printed out. Power Tsar Nicholas III stopped them, but in order. So, yeah. We were streaming earlier on my other channel, Little Revolution 2. So, we're at the airport now, and we have been delayed. I was not allowed to get on the plane. They printed off boarding passes, and then they sent me back and forth for 2 hours between 2 lines that kept on switching back and forth. And, muted, huh? Yeah. Okay, it should be working now. I just added it in my microphone. Sounds all good yet. So right now, the first terminal we went to wouldn't let them sign in, and now looks like the person in Singapore, the Philippines, that did the reservation compensation ticket for having given my seat away, messed up my birthday when they were inputting that. So Yeah, that's where we're at. And Little Revolution 2, I'll give you my other channel that's my backup because against fair election laws, YouTube has continuously shut down my campaign channel, and even when I was a top polling candidate against Feinstein for U.S. Senate, they were shutting down my channel, so I have to have multiple channels, and I have to use Restream.io to make sure that I'm going to multiple endpoints, and yeah, all sorts of fun if you don't play ball with the Israelis when you're running for office. So
I was asked to call because his ticket is inhibited. Can't check it.
So my ticket is inhibited, they can't check me in.
Yes, Emerson Mary, number 3, Yankee, number 7, Bravo, for Patrick Little.
They can't check me in.
Okay, I have a California ID. Patrick Ryan Little.
So they can't check me in. We're trying to fix it. Trying to attend the political event in D.C. You know, I'm an officially registered federal candidate, and whether it's my Wikipedia page getting deleted, me being kicked off Twitter, me being kicked off YouTube over and over again, getting kicked off Gab, I don't do anything illegal, but they try and make me feel like a criminal. And, you know, I'm almost certain that the streaming will go down the moment the campaign starts picking up steam again, like it did when I was running against Feinstein. They'll shut down all my... I'm not allowed on any social media. They're going to shut down my my YouTube again. I mean, I had a video with 2 million views on Facebook that my campaign uploaded, and they shut down my Facebook page. And I've done videos on this showing that the SPLC and the other type organizations were on Facebook bragging that they got me shut down. I was a candidate. I was registered. I was polling as a top challenger to Feinstein out of 31 challengers. I was the top one by twice the margin of anyone else. We don't have fair and open elections in this country. And, you know, I didn't start having problems with travel and stuff like that until I started getting involved in politics. And at this point, we have to get me a campaign bus. Go to littlerevolution.us. Let's raise the $15,000 we need to buy a used bus and fill it with gas and go around the country with it. You can't try and send me funds anonymously. I'm subject to the Federal Election Commission. I had to give away over $1,000 in one swoop. Someone sent me a money order for $1,000, and I had to donate it or disgorge it per FEC law. And so do not try and send my campaign funds anonymously, because you're throwing it down the toilet. I have to then give that money away. Go to littlerevolution.us. Find the donate blog post, like 2 blog posts back. Sorry, I'm traveling. My hair's a mess. And let's get the campaign bus. I'm actually in talks with the guy who did the Israel did 9/11 bus in, I believe it's Idaho or South Dakota, and I'd like to fly out there and buy it off him and drive it back to the Bay Area. We're gonna have to get a campaign bus. We're not gonna be able to afford a campaign plane, but this is something we can do. I'm not taking any money from any corporations. I'm not taking any black money support from PACs or anything like that. This is all going to be individual donations only. So, if you can, try and fund the campaign here.
Mr. Little.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Are you checking any firearms?
No. They asked me if I'm checking any firearms. No, I'm not.
Are you gonna check in a bag or no?
If I don't have to, I won't.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. You know, you have to remember, when I was at the convention for the Republican Party in San Diego, they called the police on me.
Said you won't check in.
I mean, you can inspect it. Go ahead. You can dig through. They kicked me out and called the police on me from the San Diego convention simply because I said I wouldn't support Israel. I was flanked by guys wearing kippahs. You can watch the video. Obviously, dual citizens were there, making sure I, the leading candidate, did not get to address the assembly of Republican candidates. I was the leading candidate. The closest Republican had 6% or 8%. I had 18% polling more than twice the support of the nearest person, and they kicked me out and called the police on me. And I had to speak to a police officer after I was ejected from it, saying that I was breaking the law. And I said, I'm just simply dragging the Israeli flag under my foot. That's not illegal. Well, at least not yet. And they said they had gotten reports saying that I was violently threatening to burn something in a building or something, which wasn't true. I was live streaming the whole thing. The whole thing. And so the games have just begun with this election where they're going to try and inhibit me. I'm already going to be missing a day of APAC now. And, you know, it doesn't matter how well I do in the polls. It doesn't matter how much I mop the floor with journalists when they interview with me. This isn't going to be fair, and this isn't going to be open, this election. And this is why you have to support me. And, you know, I can't even get on social media right now. I haven't done anything illegal. And I don't support a foreign country having control over our legislature and our executive branch. I talk about some subjects that, well, the mainstream media doesn't want you to talk about, but I do everything legally. And it's critical that you don't get gaslit into thinking that I've somehow broken the law, because it is not yet illegal in this country to criticize the powers that be, although they're working on it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
No, what is it?
But yeah, that's, once again, I'm sorry for the hairdo. I'm traveling. I was going to get a haircut early in the morning tomorrow, which that's off the table, so I'm going to go in there with hair a little bit longer than I usually like. I usually like my medium reg haircut. But tune in. I'm going to post it again in the chat now, the backup channel for when YouTube illegally commits crimes, felony, violating the fair election laws and equal airtime laws that we have. YouTube, because it censors, is a publisher. Because they edit and censor the content that's out there, that makes them a publisher. And if they publish video media, that makes them subject to fair election laws. The same as there are laws saying if you're a radio station or a television station, if you sell airtime to one candidate, you have to sell it to others. And if the price of airtime is free, then they're not allowed to deprive me of that airtime. So we have legal routes for challenging the censorship. We have the Federal Election Committee rules and regulations for the media. We also have fair election laws. So until they do away with those laws, we have to use them to our advantage.
It is GW0D as in dog, C as in
And
cat.
so just, yeah, basically I'm trying everything I can to challenge the existing power structure, and I'm doing it completely legally. I have people call me all the time offering to send me money anonymously. I have to tell them, no, I can't do it. You know, I have people call me on the phone trying to get me to say all sorts of crazy stuff, and I won't do it. And it's been a process. You know, when they doxed me, they doxed my wife, they doxed my family. There were death threats against me and my whole family, and I had to deal with that. And ultimately, I got blamed for these people feeling like their lives were in danger, which to some extent, I think some of these threats were probably credible. I also posted them to social media, and I haven't seen anyone arrested. I haven't seen anyone questioned. I get assaulted in multiple states, and the district attorney or the state attorney drops the charges against my assailants, even though I had video evidence which they tried not to even let me submit. I mean, we're on our way. The road to the eastern where Germany's at now. You know, in Germany, if you make a social media post that's considered offensive, you can be arrested. Did you know this? Annetta Kahane, Kahane, is in charge of social media censorship and calls the shots on who gets arrested in Germany for making social media posts that are perfectly legal, where they just point out certain things about the ruling elite. Look this up. Annetta Kahane, she was born in 1954. She has control over social media in Germany, and she was high up in the Stasi, or the secret police of East Germany, until 1989 or 1990. I think she was there. Was it 90 or 91 where they dissolved the DDR? Yeah, one of the two. She was there to the end. And Merkel was involved in the Stasi too. If you look this up, Merkel went on a stakeout of a political dissident in Eastern Germany in the 1970s, and immediately after finishing college. So we are up against some pretty scary stuff here. And, yeah, this censorship stuff especially of political candidates. So number one, censorship violates the First Amendment, and when a federal candidate's involved, that is in a violation of fair election laws. And then any of the other candidates that still get to use these other platforms are getting undue consideration in the form of a donation, which is FEC Form 3 reportable. Even if a donation doesn't take the form of money, if it's consideration in the form of discriminatory airtime, that's still that's a form of compensation that can be approximated with a dollar sign. Airtime costs money. And just because the price of airtime on social media and on video hosting sites is so low now doesn't mean that fair election laws and equal airtime laws don't apply. So I'm still here, I'm at the desk. I'm at the desk waiting to get my ticket, and there are problems because the person who did my compensation ticket for the last one has apparently entered in my birthday wrong when they were doing the makeup ticket for me. So now we are having problems getting the boarding pass for my 9:40 flight. So I'm going to keep live streaming here until I have the boarding pass in my hand. Don't be discouraged. But we need a campaign bus. This stuff's going to keep on happening. They had the police raid my apartment twice with like a SWAT team-sized amount of people sweeping for firearms. They tried to SWAT my house twice because people called the police and said that I had illegal firearms in my apartment. And I submitted to search. I didn't need to. They didn't have a warrant. They didn't find any weapons. I wasn't. So I have to deal with this. It's a form of harassment. And, it wasn't fun. I had a campaign assistant in the apartment, and, he was terrified. A bunch of police coming in searching for weapons. It was, but these are the games that get played. And, you have to accept who's in power as the truth, as reality, and then you have to figure out how do you get them out of power, and my way is the legal way, the electoral way. And I challenge any of you, find a better way. If you've got a better way to restore our constitutional republic or our rights, tell me. But I think the best way is running for office, and I ask any of you out there that are upset, you see what's going on, whether you're a baby boomer that's upset with what's happening to your grandchildren, or whether you're a college student. If you're 25, run for the House of Representatives. Run for Senate. Run for sheriff, run for governor, run for office. You have extra law protections afforded to you as a candidate, especially for federal office. And some states like Hawaii and California have redundant measures that approximate the fair election laws that we have as federal candidates. So check your state laws, and if your state has laws that approximate fair election laws in terms of airtime for your state, then you can run for local or state government too. You don't have to run for federal. It's just, I know the federal laws. And there will be lawsuits against these social media companies. But we're going to have to expect that, anytime I announce I'm going to a campaign event somewhere, if I'm relying on a plane ticket or something, you're going to have dual citizens calling the airline or the transportation security and saying that there's something wrong, or that, that God heaven forbid he's got firearms with him or something. And these games are going to get played with me every time I go to an airport. We saw these games played with Ken O'Keefe. And so we need a campaign bus, because this is going to happen. And it isn't necessarily the airlines or the people in Travel Security Agency. What it is the people calling in with these bogus tips. So I'm still waiting. Looks like there's trouble printing my ticket again for the compensation flight that I've been given. But we're going to stick with it. And looks like she's being placed on hold for a long time now.
Our flight that we missed is now saying it's delayed. Can we check in?
But, I need you guys to run for governor. I need you to run for mayor. I need you to run for House of Representatives, U.S. House of Representatives, State House of Representatives, U.S. Senate, State Senate. If there's a judgeship that's up for election, run for it. Get your ideas out there, because if you're not trying to take part in the system, what right do you have to complain about the system? And if there are 100 or 500 or 1,000 or 10,000 of us running for state municipal and county offices and stuff, and we all face the same games, and at that point, you can legitimately say there's no hope in working through the system. But before you say that the system's too broken to be worked with, try. You got to prove that the system doesn't work. And even if they completely screw me over in my campaign, even if the games that have me showing that I only get 1% of the vote when I was polling at 18%, if that happens to enough people, people will say, well, there's something strange going on here. Maybe we as Americans should look into this.
You have to go to door 12.
So,
This
yeah.
Yeah.
To what?
You have a question?
To what, Maya?
Door 12.
Door 12.
Yeah. They have the counter next to door 12.
Yeah. Well, somebody just said there's an issue with the system, and I'm saying if there's an issue with the system, if one person says that and one person points to evidence that there was an issue with them trying to run for office in the system, that's one thing. But if 10,000 people run for office and the games all get played with them too, at that point, you've got a much stronger case.
Okay.
Anyhow, I'm just going to stand by here and keep streaming while I try and get my ticket addressed, but yeah, fun times.
Yes, the Juarez. And then, am I waiting for them here? Okay, and the passengers will just go from the back. Okay, so he can go to the security line. Okay, thank you so much, Dolores.
And
So little, we need to check in your bigger bag,
sure, that's fine.
okay? And then you can go ahead.
I'm just going to grab my charging equipment out of here because you have outlets in past security, right? You have outlets for charging?
Yeah, you have to remove any lithium batteries in there.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep my electronics separate here so that I can charge stuff. Okay, so we have a boarding pass.
Yep.
All right, and is there anything else you need from me? Oh, you need to check the bag. Very good. Oh, can I take this empty bottle with me through security and get fountain water? So this is how much I'm trying to save you money. I've already started receiving donations. I've got a few checks I need to deposit into the bank, but I'm not even buying water. I'm filling my own bottled water after security from the drinking fountain. I'm not going to waste your money. I'm going to be reading on the flight this book by Bolin about the Israeli lobby and their influence in our government. And I'll also be reading Dr. Duke's book. But I'm going to get going now. I got my boarding pass and we're checking my bag. So thank you for tuning in, and tune in for my political activities in D.C. in the coming days.